So for the second part on the second page, begin with the do now. Can you guess what I am? What organism is pictured here? Do you think it's a fat green worm on a red leaf? Here's a clue. There's more organisms like this than any other on Earth. Here's another clue. Each organism consists of a single cell without a nucleus. Well, if you guessed correctly, this is a bacteria cell, particularly Salmonella, a bacteria that causes food poisoning. These bacteria fall into a category of cells called prokaryote cells. And we're going to be learning first about prokaryote cells and then eukaryote cells. There's two cell types. Prokaryote, let's break down the word. What do you think the prefix pro means? Pro means before. Just like in the word prototype, program, proactive, activity happens before the actual item or before the actual activity. So pro means before and karyote means nucleus, so they gave these cells the name prokaryote before a nucleus. So do you think prokaryotes have a nucleus? Actually, they do not. Copy down these four important characteristics of prokaryote cells. So no nucleus, a free DNA. Many of them have a tail, also called a flagellum. They have a cell wall and no organelles or no structures within its boundary. An example of this is bacteria cells. And this is the basic structure. It looks like a pill. Here's the flagellum, the tail. The red floating things are DNA, and it's covered by a cell wall, and under the cell wall is the cell membrane. So reading checks, do prokaryotes have a nucleus? Do you remember? No nucleus. So go ahead on the mind map, write down that prokaryotes have no nucleus. Why do we care learning about prokaryotes in our life? Why are we interested in learning about bacteria? 6 reasons. Fill out the section prokaryotes in your life. First, bioremediation. Scientists have figured out that bacteria are useful in cleaning up oil spills and ecological disasters. They use bacteria that particularly love to eat fat, and they spray that on the oil spills, and the bacteria eat the oil and break it down into substances that do not harm the environment. Number 2, bacteria in your intestines. We have about 5 to 10 pounds of bacteria in our intestines, and they are there to protect us from harmful bacteria. We call these healthy bacteria, good bacteria. They provide us nutrients that we need, help us digest our food, and even affect our mood. Yogurt is produced from a particular type of bacteria. The yogurt eats the fat in the milk and makes the milk thick and chunky. That's why that's why yogurt is thick. And it's actually good for your intestines because it replenishes the healthy bacteria that are supposed to live in the intestines. Cheeses, hard cheeses like Parmesan and cheddar are all cultured with bacteria to give it that funky and sharp taste that we like so much in cheeses. Number 5, bacteria in our skin. We have plenty of bacteria in our skin, some places more than others, like our armpits and our groin. That's why things may smell if you get sweaty. Bacteria on our skin keeps us healthy, keeps the bad bacteria away. And that's what takes us to number 6, that's some bacteria that can make you sick. So if you ever had a cold or upset stomach, or food poisoning from a restaurant, it's probably from a bad bacteria. Someone didn't wash their hands or someone didn't cook their meat properly. So for the exit ticket, please go ahead and label the parts of the prokaryotic cell. This is the flagellum. This is the DNA. This is the outer shell of the cell wall, and here is the cell membrane. For the next section, we're going to talk about eukaryotic cells. For the do now, identify what does this cell have that a prokaryote cell does not have. As you see, it's round. It has a nucleus at the center, and it also has these membrane-bound organelles, these extra structures to the cell. So before we move on to the next page, go ahead and fill out the mind map. We're going to start eukaryotic cells. These cells have a nucleus. Turn the page. The four main characteristics of eukaryotic cells. 1, they have a nucleus. 2, they have organelles, these structures here. 3, they are 10 times larger than the prokaryotic cells. And 4, they are usually clustered with many different other cells. In our human body, we have 100 trillion cells, and eukaryote cells make up the human body. Examples of eukaryotic cells are yeast, the yeast that we use to rise our dough and make it nice and fluffy before we bake it. Fungus, plants, and animals. For this section here, draw it. Use the descriptions on the page before that you have in your notes to draw a prokaryotic cell and a eukaryotic cell, and go ahead and label those two. You can use the drawings from the previous page. And remember that a eukaryotic cell is about 10 times larger. Go ahead and skip the compare and contrast and move on to the math focused. Most of the smallest prokaryotic cells have a diameters of about 1 micron. What do you expect the diameter of the smallest eukaryotic cell to be? Well, since we said that eukaryotic cells are 10 times larger than prokaryotic cells, we expect the smallest eukaryotic cell to be 10 microns in diameter. Please fill out the compare and contrast chart on the next page. Where eukaryotes have no cell wall, prokaryotes always have a cell wall. Where prokaryotes have no nucleus, eukaryotes always have a nucleus. Eukaryotes have organelles, prokaryotes have no organelles. Prokaryotes come in one cell, eukaryotes come in many cells. And where the genetic material is DNA for eukaryotes, it is also the genetic material for prokaryotes. So copy that down here. Take a look at this zoomed in image of a plant cell. Can you tell me where the cell wall is located? Go ahead and pause the video now. See if you can identify where the cell wall is located. As you see here, the cell wall is located in the outermost shell of the cell. It's always outside the cell membrane. It is the outside wall. We're going to go ahead and zoom in on comparing plant cells versus animal cells. As you can see, a plant cell is square in shape, has a large central vacuole with filled with water. It also has a nucleus here, and it does have organelles. The plant cell is round, has organelles, no water vacuole, but here's the nucleus surrounded by the organelles. Go here in this image, take a look, compare, circle 4 parts that both the plant cell and the animal cell both have. Go ahead and pause the video and do that now. And for your exit ticket, you have just discovered a new organism, and it is a single cell and has a cell wall but no nucleus. Can you tell me what kind of organism it is? Well, if you're a scientist and you discovered this new organism, it probably should be called a prokaryote cell, because prokaryote cells have a cell wall and no nucleus.